Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gable.
And my name is Jacob Wirtz, guys. Welcome to episode 169 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. Now, first, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. In these ones, we cover the mental side of our brand. Now, we go over our anecdotal experiences with things like mindset and mentality. We then pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, and this is what we have today, we have physical vitality episodes. Now, in these ones, we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. Now, in these episodes, we cover everything that we offer with our fully custom Untapped training app. Now, if you guys have any questions or curiosities about what we offer, what we can do for you, please reach out. We are very reachable guys, and we are more than willing and able to help you get the results that you want. Now, in these physical vitalities, we also cover everything to do with the gym, workouts, diet, nutrition, supplements, mental toughness programs like 75 Hard, for example. And then at times, we will take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those. Now, keep in mind, guys, these physical vitalities are full of free game, especially one like today. So make sure you pay attention.
Nice work, bro. Okay, on to our third format, guys. That is our breaking news format. That is a current event-based format. We touch on current events, current articles going on in the United States, but also the world. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the content you see around current events is very doom and gloom, very, everything's negative, for example. We are bringing the solution side of these episodes as well. We make you aware of the situations, and then we provide solutions or possible ways forward. Now, on to our fourth format. That is our Knights Table format. It is a masculinity-based format. We touch on things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, what it is, fatherhood, the impact it's had on our lives, and male-based topics in general, and how important men are to the future of this country and also the world. Now, keep in mind, I'm 27, Wirtz is 26, our producer Mitch is 25. Because of that reason, we are not coming to you as some all put together perfect man. The only perfect man to ever walk this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our fifth format. That is our guest format. We sit down with entrepreneurs, fitness professionals, athletes, doctors, anybody with a great story or somebody who brings you value. We're going to learn a lot from these episodes. You are also, in turn, going to learn a lot from these episodes with our guest. Now, our last thing before the content of the episode to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gable.
Yo.
What up, Mitch?
Yo, what's happening?
How it be?
What's good?
What it do?
What's the word?
That was nice.
Yeah.
Little exchange there, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys could be rappers.
Yeah.
We're nasty with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to introduce a brand new segment to the show. Gable, you are not aware of this.
I am very unaware of this.
I made an executive decision.
You initiated your executive power in the company?
Yes. As a co-founder, I have decided that we're going to have Mitch's fact of the day, where he's going to tell us a fact of the day.
Okay, perfect.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell from the title.
Super difficult.
I know.
Concept.
It's
Yeah,
insane. So
Yep.
This is our inaugural Mitch's fact of the day, but this will be a weekly segment. So, Mitch, what do you got for us, dude?
an ultra-crepidarian is a person who acts like they're knowledgeable about a topic, but they actually have no expertise or knowledge about said topic.
Interesting.
Now you know.
An ultra who?
An ultra-crepidarian.
You sure it's not a insect?
Nope.
Yeah,
Ultra
like some
crepidarian.
That is what it sounds. It sounds
six-legged bug or something.
It sounds like what a centipede would be, like the category would be in.
Yeah, that like eats humans or something.
Wow, that's dark. Jeez.
Yeah.
But no, that is. Are you talking about like a midwit, basically?
Sure. I guess that's another name
What's
for
a
it.
midwit?
A midwit's like a person that thinks they're very smart because their IQ's like at average, but they're actually not really smart and they
So
don't
like
actually understand topics.
All Harvard graduates.
Correct. Yeah, it's people that can follow rules really well, but they don't actually think outside the box at all. Yeah.
Are we ultra-crepidarians?
Well, we certainly try not to be.
I try to avoid
In all
that,
seriousness.
for sure. Yeah, 100%. That's real talk. That's something anybody should want to avoid.
For sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
you should actually be evaluating that if you are like talking on a topic and you're trying to be an expert and you're not. It's like, let's step back a little bit.
Definitely. And that's why when we do certain types of Forging Fortitudes, like, hey, we're not, mental health doctors or anything like that.
Nope.
We're not going to speak out of bounds. Oh, Something just fell in the back.
Yep, someone's done for in the background.
Yeah.
Well, piece of baby equipment just got taken
Say
out.
it one more time for us.
An ultra crepidarian.
Crepidarian.
Ultra crepidarian.
Interesting.
Cool name.
Cool.
Yeah, good fact.
All right.
Yep. Good start.
That's Mitch's fact of the day.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Mitch.
I like that intro. Yep.
Now, back into your corner. Yep. All right. See you, bud.
Back in your hole.
All right. So I mentioned we have a physical vitality here for 169. How crazy is that? 169. Chugging right along.
Mhm.
200 is in our sights.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Big time
Yeah.
if you really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't stopped. Pretty cool.
We won't be.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's, I mean, again, that's what it comes down to, dude, is that we're not going to put the foot on the gas. We're not going to give it up. So
No.
we're just gonna keep going.
We are going to put the foot on the gas.
foot on the brake is what I meant
Yeah,
to say.
yeah, okay,
Of
okay.
course. I'm going to say we're not going to put the foot on the brake.
We're not driving in
Apologies.
neutral.
Apologies.
Not going to go very far.
You're always
going
going to get at least one mess up from me like that, where I'll switch a phrase up. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that's okay.
I say that like I always speak perfectly on here.
right. Like our original intro.
Oh boy. Oh,
we don't
boy.
want to revisit that one.
No.
We want to visit physical vitality
Yes.
topics.
It's a good visit. It's always a good visit.
It is.
It's a free visit too.
That is our expertise, as you say.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking perfect English is not always our expertise.
No, we will never claim to be English professors by any means. Yeah.
Correct. We will never claim to be an ultra crepidarian on the English language.
Well, wouldn't that? Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Never mind. Yeah, never mind.
Bingo. Yeah, that's
We,
how you
we won't be
incorporate.
that.
Yeah, right. All right.
Big brain activity.
Kettlebells versus traditional.
Good topic.
Yeah.
And by the way, the reason you and I also brought this topic up today
Mhm.
is because it's an ongoing debate right now on social
Absolutely.
media. Yeah.
And it's probably one that will always be a debate
More than likely.
because
Yeah.
you'll have your people that lean only kettlebells. You'll have your people that lean only traditional.
Mhm.
And then you have guys like us who very much so incorporate both
Mhm.
and are happy to incorporate
and
both.
think movements from both can be very useful.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. And we know it too.
Yep.
We know it.
The interesting thing about it too is like, because those of you that don't know fitness social media much, there's a lot of like phases on it where like, something will get more focused than other things. Topics never die out in the fitness industry or
Sure.
the fitness social media space, but they do get more focused sometimes. Like right now, the kettlebell traditional strength route is a really big debate right now. Just like we talked about the science-based episode, science-based in quotations, was really a hot topic at the time we talked about that episode too.
Absolutely.
So that comes into play with the topics that you talk about in the intro as well. But this kettlebell traditional one, in a way, you set it up in a pretty direct way there, where there's one side right now that thinks that kettlebells are real strength and the only way to go about things. There's also another side that thinks traditional strength training, and by the way, traditional strength, what we're talking about, guys, could be anything toward classic powerlifting, bodybuilding, and like we're talking golden era bodybuilding, like we're talking Arnold and Ronnie Coleman type style for those
Tom Platz.
Tom
those types of
Platz.
guys.
Yeah, don't want to look into those guys. Like that type of style of training is kind of the traditional side of things that you think of.
Even as
Powerlifting.
recent as C-Bum.
Even as recent as
100%.
C-Bum, even though C-Bum with Hani, a lot of the work you see with him is like what you would consider some of it's non-conventional bodybuilding stuff. Some of
Good
it,
point.
not a high percentage of it,
Yeah.
but like some of it you do
Like,
see is
for
different.
example, he would deadlift a lot in prep.
Right.
And that's pretty uncharacteristic.
Even though,
bodybuilders.
like, truthfully, if you execute deadlifts right, you can get a lot of back thickness out
Oh,
of it.
100%.
So that's another thing that I think a
Yeah.
lot of people just write off, but that's not the topic of
Sure.
today. But
Sure.
it is an important little distinction there. So that's the traditional side of things. And there are people on that side that think that kettlebells literally never have any use. Like they're just lift heavy things and you'll be fine, which to a degree you could make an argument toward as well.
Absolutely.
What you really couldn't make an argument toward is like kettlebells being the only way to train, truthfully. And I don't want to say that because I like kettlebells a lot. I think they are useful.
I think the reason, or at least one of the reasons you're saying that, and there is truth to that, is because you and I both know you're going to miss out on certain possibly body parts and certain stimuli. You're going to miss out on if you only go kettlebells. There's something to be said for a classic dumbbell bench press. Could you figure out a way to hit your chest with kettlebells? No doubt. No doubt. But you're going to miss out on certain portions of your body, of growth, and things like that if you only go kettlebells.
Yep.
So I think that's probably part of the reason you're saying that.
Yeah, because the big key with kettlebells is that if you're trying to train with kettlebells or you are training with kettlebells, then you are going to get kettlebell adaptations out of it. You're not going to get the hypertrophy adaptations out of it as much. You will get hypertrophy out of it 100%.
For sure.
It's the only training you do. You will naturally, like, pretty much if you pick up any type of heavy weight and lift it, you will get some type of hypertrophy adaptations depending on your level.
I mean, if you move furniture
training
all day long, like you're going to get stronger.
Yep. Hypothetically, you should have good forearms, whatnot too.
Yeah.
But it can also depend on things like your diet too. But that's where I think you have to be careful with kettlebells, is because, like, is it the only way to train on that side of things? You shouldn't really make that argument. A guy that we both know that I'm close enough to, because he actually has worked with Health Source in some manners too. His name's Clifton Harsky, big kettlebell guy. Does, like, classes through it with, like, functional kettlebell stuff.
Has his own certification.
Has his own certification through it. Yeah. I was actually able to take at least one day of it, which technically doesn't give me the certification, but I still wanted to at least join in for a day of it. But great kettlebell stuff. But also this guy as well, you'll see him often on his videos program in 1 or 2 days a week of traditional stuff, because he's not one of these absolutists with the kettlebells a lot of the times. And hopefully eventually down the road we get to talk to him on the podcast too, because that'd be a really good, like, kettlebell focused episode. But also it would be a good strength training episode in general.
It'd be a great addition to a conversation like what we're having tonight.
100%. He also makes the distinction too, Cliff does, and this is something that makes a lot of sense to anybody that has any type of strength conditioning knowledge, is that if you are just only working with, like, a 26-pound kettlebell all the time and that's it, you definitely won't have strength or hypertrophy adaptation.
Yeah.
He always talks about it. You'll see him doing, like, Bulgarian split squats with kettlebells that are 106, 90 pounds, that type of stuff. We're talking heavy ass kettlebells. So it's real stuff that can introduce these adaptations we're talking about. And that's a very important distinction too with kettlebells. If you want to progress, just like if you want to progress in traditional strength, you have to go up in weight. You can't just because it's a kettlebell and you want to throw it away all the time or throw it around all the time and have fun with it. That's great if that's what you want to do. It'll still get you good movement. But don't expect yourself to be a bodybuilder.
Correct.
If you're just throwing around a 26-pound kettlebell all the time.
Correct.
Like, that's not a realistic expectation.
Which the same argument is if you don't progressively overload your traditional lifts.
Exactly.
If you bench 135 on the bar forever, like, you're not going to grow your chest, you're not going to grow your shoulders.
Only time you touch anything.
Yeah, right. So it goes for that as well.
100%. 100%. And that's why the argument's very funny, because of the fact that you and I almost on all of these arguments end up in the middle of them most of the time.
Well, of course.
Because it's like we talked about, we're not here to be, what do you call it, an absolutist. This would be the word I would use, an absolutist on one style of training. That's not who we are, because that's not how you should be as a trainer.
Sure.
If you're an actual trainer who cares about his qualifications and also just his reputation, being an absolutist about it is really just good for clicks on social media.
100%.
And that's about it.
And that will work. If that's your goal,
it will work.
You
sent me a video of this guy. He was basically making fun of hybrid training in general.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, whether he meant it to or not, which is possible he meant it to, it was very clickbaity. He was saying that, like, he was basically making fun of and calling hybrid athletes gay.
Yeah, well, that was the first line. It was hybrid training is just so gay. It was the first line. It's like, all right, well, you got me.
I want to watch the whole video now.
You got me.
And so that's the problem though, is, like, a lot of people then hear these clickbaity terms that are casual listeners and just want to work out and strength train outside of their job, and they don't train, or they don't have a trainer and all that stuff. So the problem is you're talking to a lot of impressionable minds when you do that type of stuff.
Yes.
You're making them assume bodybuilding is now the only style of training you should be doing forever.
Right.
That's not a good thing either.
No.
And that's the traditional side of things we're talking about.
Especially as you get older too, by the way.
Yeah.
Older populations, like, if you're only training that way. Now, first of all, let me just say this. It's fantastic that you're training as you get older. That's fantastic.
Make that 100% clear. Yeah.
If you're still getting yourself to the gym, or if you have equipment at home, like, that is fantastic. That's amazing. That's going to keep you alive longer. It's going to keep you healthier longer. That's great. However, as you get older, you have to push your body in the, and we're not talking anything crazy, but you have to put your body in more functional type situations. Maybe you're doing some jumps. Maybe you're doing some single leg work, some single arm work. And again, we're not talking anything crazy, but that will keep you moving how you want to move. If you have grandkids, it'll allow you to still play with your grandkids. If you're 75, you're still able to go enjoy a walk. Enjoy sitting in a car. As funny as that might sound, like that can be very
without
uncomfortable.
pain. Yeah,
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, you can get out of bed pain-free or pretty damn close to pain-free. You know, you're not in the doctor's office. You're not in the chiropractor's office every week because your knees or your back or whatever is hurting you all the time. You know, so as you get older, it is still very, very important to train in different ways is the point here.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. And because the thing is too, when you talk about training in different ways as you age as well, again, if your favorite style of training is hypertrophy work or bodybuilding work, do that 4 days a week or whatever it is, whatever your split is. Do it with intensity, but then have another day where you're doing the POCOs, the broad jumps, the sprints, whatever it is outside of that. Because
box jumps.
You also talk about that type of stuff, dude, is phenomenal for elasticity and tendons long term. Your ligaments are going to be better, elasticity as well. The longevity of your knees is going to be better that way too. All these different things that put it under a different type of stress compared to what just doing traditional bodybuilding would. Because it doesn't mean you have to throw that training out the window, but it is still good to have that stuff in your program of some sort. And really once a week, if you're somebody who's just like a general population person and not an athlete, you will get adaptations from that when it comes to longevity in your body.
For sure.
No doubt.
Perfect example for simplicity here. Like, let's just say you do a push-pull legs. Easiest way to follow. It's pretty obvious what movements you should do for push-pull legs. On your leg day, incorporate step-ups onto a box. And maybe incorporate a few box jumps. You know, it could be an 8-inch box or 6-inch box, and that's fine. Jump up on it. You know,
start slow.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, do pistol squats in a way with a box. You know, so if you lose your balance, you can just sit down. You're safe. You know, it's things like that. Those are perfect examples.
100%. Yeah, that's the whole idea of that. That's why we're talking about it being so absolutist about it is just not the real way life works. It's just not. It's the same thing if you talk about the traditional side of things. Another group you would talk about is powerlifters who neglect cardio. Same concept.
Or other movements.
In general.
Meaning they deadlift for 2 hours.
Yeah. Could be.
Oh, we've never experienced that.
Never seen that before. Never, for sure.
From the same person at every single event that we go to.
Anyways, before that pisses me off too much. You're right though, because that's when it comes to that's another side of it is like, honestly, you just need to deadlift heavy and squat heavy and bench heavy and then you'll be good. And it's like, that is about as reductionist as it gets. That is about as reductionist as you could possibly go. Just saying that's the only way people should train. Because one, your heart's not as strong.
Yeah, right.
Your cardiovascular health is such an indicator of your long-term health. If you don't take care of your cardiovascular health, you will 100% feel the results of that as you age.
And not to mention, too, when your cardiovascular health is better, you will notice it in your lifting days, too.
Exactly.
You know?
You're going to have more energy for your lifting
days.
What
I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. And on your longer sets, you know, let's say you have a 12 to 15 rep set. That's long. That's a long set. Doesn't matter the movement. I don't care if it's bicep curls. That's a long movement. But when you get to that 12 or 15 range, you're not gassing out on your first set, you know? So... And that's something that you and I have both really started to take more seriously is cardio in general. Are we both super consistent with it? No, not necessarily. But it is absolutely something that we are making more of a point to incorporate more often.
Yep. Because
we both realize it's like, okay, this definitely does matter. While doing cardio might suck, doesn't matter the mode, you know, of cardio. Maybe the only one that doesn't suck is rucking because we've done it for years. However, it does still suck.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But if you are strictly this guy that only deadlifts, squats, and benches, well, your VO2 max is 0. Like 0.
Maybe not exactly 0.
Okay,
but
3.
It's pretty damn bad.
I'll give him a 3.
Yeah, it's pretty damn bad. Yeah.
And just to reiterate your point, like the cardiovascular health is so important for the longevity of your body, your mind, and your health and lifespan for that matter.
Yep, absolutely. And the interesting thing about cardio too is if you talk about cardio, there's a lot of conversation around cardio kills your gains, right? That's also a falsehood. You would have to be overdosing the shit out of your cardio to do that. And you would have to be eating an extremely low amount of protein.
Correct.
For it to kill your gains.
Correct.
So and again, if you're prepping for a show, different story. Like there's obviously different like week phases where you go through 4 weeks of, instead of an hour of cardio, 30 minutes of cardio and whatnot. So you decrease your caloric burn that comes along with it. So you again, can put on size in the bulking phase of the actual bodybuilding prep.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Right. But talking about killing your gains, bro, just add 20 grams more protein.
Yeah.
Add 30 grams more protein. Whatever it is. Like, and again, that is reductionist from me there for sure. But is there truth to it? That if you're now adding cardio into your routine, okay, add some protein to it. That is very true because you will have more of an appetite demand for that anyways, as it is, which will also help with muscle repair and just in general, muscle growth continuing while you have cardio in your routine as well.
Right.
So that's another part of the traditional side that gets thrown in there a lot of times, not just also talking about them going at kettlebell people. There is a very, very pervasive narrative that cardio kills your gains, and it's a extreme falsehood. Big time.
While we're on the cardio topic here, to incorporate kettlebells into this part as well instead of just traditional, kettlebells can be a great way to get your cardio in, and it can be fun,
especially with circuits.
That's what I mean. You make up a 3-movement circuit, a 5-movement circuit that's like kettlebell only. Then you're also getting a little bit of stimulus with it. You're getting a load with it with the kettlebell. Maybe that's your purpose for the 26-pounder. If you're throwing it around in a 5-movement circuit, like you can gas out pretty quick.
It's going to burn you out 100%.
You do a circuit, you do an AMRAP of some sort or whatever it might be. Like that can be a great way to incorporate kettlebells into your training.
Yep.
Because you mentioned earlier, whenever we do these physical vitalities, this versus this, we always find ourselves in the middle. Well, that's because number one, we train in the middle because we do incorporate both of these. We train people in the middle. We incorporate both of these. Obviously a person-to-person basis, but we are not going to not include kettlebells into your training. But there is so much use for both, and we've covered that pretty greatly here, but let's give, maybe 2 or 3 ways that you can fit both into your training. You can lead us off here.
Fit both. Well, you could design your split around it, is one of the ways. You could design your split as one of the days is a kettlebell type day only, which is possible and doable. And then you have 2 or 3 other days of the week that are more of your traditional aspect, and that's great for strength, hypertrophy, again, same thing, which usually are very correlated, by the way. That's pretty common topic too.
So let's say if you were going to incorporate a quote unquote kettlebell only day, would you lean more towards maybe that being your lower body day or a lower body day for the week?
Not even necessarily, because yes, kettlebells do 100% elicit more of a fatigue effect on the lower body a lot of times. But truthfully, I do think that if you were to have like a singular day be kettlebells and then 2 or 3 other days, I would have a dedicated lower body day still. Hypothetically, like if you only had 2 other days, you would do upper and lower is the way I would do it. Unless you're a full body guy, which that's a whole nother nuance. But if you had 3 days, I would also say like an upper lower full body would be good outside of the kettlebell day of those. If you had 3 days to work with outside of the kettlebell day, but
so 4 total.
Yeah, 4 total, 100%. Because that way you still spread overall the influence around all those. And yes, a lot of the kettlebell movements can be lower body heavy, so to speak.
Sure.
But overall, I mean, if you're talking about comparing like, somebody doing a sumo deadlift or a squat to doing kettlebell work and how the fatigue compares to the two, you're going to get a lot more fatigue on your squats than you are the kettlebells there
sure.
on the lower body.
Yeah,
for sure.
Unless you find some 250-pound kettlebell and you're doing goblet squats with it.
That's true. I think sandbags are the only thing that could even replicate that amount of weight, probably.
Right. Can you imagine trying to goblet squat a 250-pound kettlebell just to hold the damn thing up?
Hilarious idea too.
It honestly, like, I don't know that you and I could do that. Hold it up here and squat. Like, you want to talk about serious full body fatigue there.
The heaviest kettlebell I've seen is 203 pounds. There was a video of guys, they were doing it wasn't a goblet squat hold, but it was basically a competition. They were, for those of you on video, they were basically posted up on a bench and they were trying to see how long they could hold the 203-pound kettlebell with it hanging off the bench there.
Yeah.
And like there was one guy that got 35 seconds. There was another guy that got like a minute and a half.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I think that was Mitch, actually.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
Well, these were all jiu-jitsu guys too. All jiu-jitsu, like top tier, like IFBBJ, I think it is. Oh shoot, whatever. It doesn't matter. But like high level jiu-jitsu guys. And so, I mean, these guys were like, damn, like they're taking care of the strength training and their jiu-jitsu athletes. These guys are
crazy.
murderers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But no, that would probably be the closest comparison I've seen of it. But again, like that shows that kettlebells can be progressively used even at the 203-pound weight.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Which is crazy to think about.
For sure.
It's the same thing as the one they have at First Form, that 176. You know, you can dual hang clean that one, you know, hypothetically.
I can't. You can.
I thought you got it one of the times.
I did like 3 kettlebell swings.
That's right. You got the swings. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Which was just a insanely difficult thing to do.
You nailed the swings though. Yeah.
I swung it anyway. I don't know how good they looked.
Well, the form was good, but that's actually funny enough. Like if you do a 176-pound kettlebell swing, you're talking about posterior chain work.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
you're
talking about a similar effect in a lot of ways to deadlifts.
That's
in some
the
ways
ass
too.
grower right there.
100%. You're gonna have huge cheeks doing that consistently. Huge butt cheeks. Yeah.
Mitch, what do you think about that, huh?
us hockey guys know all about big asses. Huh?
You don't think baseball guys do?
No, hockey players definitely
Those
have bigger asses. Definitely bigger asses.
No, you need tight pants to make it look like you got
Exactly.
something.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
There are ball players that do actually stuff their pants.
I would imagine that. Socks and bubble wrap and whatever else you got laying around.
It's like Bryce Harper who says no ass at all, and he's stuffing cotton balls in his pants.
It's actually like a cutting board, but
yeah, it looks like a piece of plywood walking around. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
SpongeBob looking ass.
Oh yeah, dude. That's but the thing is, the overarching point with the kettlebells is like.
By the way, crazy stray bullet for Bryce Harper to catch there.
Yeah, that was. That is insane of me to do that.
That dude's gonna hunt us down.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing because now Matt's gonna listen to the podcast and tell him, and we're gonna be done for.
Hey, get a load of these two guys.
Damn it! Shit.
Why don't you just remind him that you're
Bryce? I'm sorry.
You're an MVP.
I'm so sorry, Bryce. All right, I didn't mean it. But back to the kettlebell aspect of it. It's like if you were to, so that's one option. If you were to actually program in your split one single day of it. Now, honestly, what I would say is you could realistically have it on both your upper and lower body days too, and have traditional movements first. Because a lot of times, like let's say you are somebody who's doing compound movements, you know, the sumos, the barbell movements, the dumbbell movements, whatever, they're gonna be pretty fatiguing no matter who you are.
They should be pretty fatiguing.
They should be if your
intensity
is dosed properly, of course. So keeping that in mind, I would say that the kettlebells can serve as a very good upper accessory in some scenarios, especially like push presses with kettlebells can be a really good option.
Cleans
can be a really good option with that. Snatches can be a really good option.
Rows, like gorilla rows.
Gorilla rows are great, great one
for
there.
Your back.
100%. And again, like a guy like Cliff would be one who he could add 80 other movements that would be perfect for upper body too, because just like he's had a wealth of knowledge for like 20 years in kettlebell stuff now. But so in the lower body, it fits in perfect too, because like the snatches are great for power. The cleans can be really used for lower body power too, depending on how you set up, how you hinge, that type of stuff as well. The swings, like we talked about, can be put into
RDLs
in different ways, 100%.
Step ups,
yeah,
I mean,
you're talking about all types of power
lunges.
Applications. You're talking about single arm power applications, all this stuff that could be easily thrown into your lower body routine too. And it just depends on how much time you have. Like if we're talking about you have an hour to work with, it's probably 2 or 3 traditional movements and then maybe 1 or 2 kettlebell movements. You know, in that amount of time, or you superset some stuff together.
Sure,
you get an extra 2 or 3 movements in that movement that way too.
That's typically what I do.
Yeah,
I try to superset the things I can.
That would be probably the primary way I'd say. Like a single kettlebell day, most people would probably, if it's not their thing, if kettlebells aren't their thing, then it would be boring to them to have one day like that. Possibly,
I think, and on that point, actually, I think that's where the use of a circuit can be, because you're going to sweat. You're going to have a high heart rate. You're going to feel good about the work you're doing.
Yep.
And that doesn't discredit. I'm not mocking that by any means. But if kettlebells aren't your thing, or you've never really done much kettlebell work, get a base. So do one movement at a time. Get a base. Get a feel for the movement. Because there is a learning curve to kettlebells, for sure. You know, you're going to have, you know, if you're doing snatches or cleans, for example, like you need to get used to the kettlebell smacking your forearms, the top of your forearms.
Yep.
That can be a little bit uncomfortable.
And especially if you work on the technique of catching the kettlebell, it can actually
Yes.
smooth out the mount it smacks that wrist.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yes. Yes. And so that's kind of my point is learn the movements, get a feel for the movements so that you can start to incorporate the catching of the kettlebell. Because if we're being honest, that's the proper way to do that type of movement. Just like a traditional clean, whether it's a hang clean or a power clean with a barbell, you're kind of catching the bar. You know, you're not just getting under it real quick and then trying to hold it up. Like, no, catch it, get your elbows through, that type of stuff. Also, grip strength. That's another factor that comes into play with kettlebells. You need to up your grip strength, and to do that, you need to do the movements. You know, and so once you kind of have a basis of that, incorporating a circuit type workout can actually be really fun because again, you're going to sweat a lot. You're going to have a high heart rate. That can be a way for you to get some cardio in and have a little bit of fun with it. It's, in my mind, I would rather do something like that than go run on the treadmill where I feel like I'm legitimately going nowhere. And you're just sitting there watching the thing like, come on, get to a mile, get to a quarter mile, get to, you know, it's just like, you're just watching it.
It is miserable.
It is, you know, and obviously those have their purpose. But that's a way that you could make it your thing, so to speak, or get yourself excited to have a kettlebell only day if it is not your thing.
Yep. Well, to continue the advocacy for kettlebells, I would say another thing that people forget about it is that the skill development that comes along with it is what you're talking about. It takes a lot of practice to get good with kettlebells. You know, one of the movements that I learned at Cliff certification was literally a regular swing popping out into catching in the opposite arm in a lateral lunge.
Yeah.
It's a tough movement, right?
There's a lot going on there.
Very difficult. And you have to think a lot more that way. And skill acquisition through movements, no matter who you talk to, should admit that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Hypothetically, a trainer should admit that's a positive aspect because learning different movement patterns, being very analytical in your movements, which kettlebells incorporate, is very good.
Almost require, actually.
100%. Yeah. And but again, this is why we're advocating for both traditional and kettlebell because the skill acquisition, maybe you don't get as much load with the skill acquisition movements you do with the kettlebell, but then you get the load during your traditional strength training.
Correct.
You know, your basic bicep curls, your basic deadlifts, etc.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, to add the nuance, guys, and to add the absolutist version of this is why we're talking about this, because both of them are phenomenal applications. And anybody that disagrees with that is probably just trying to push their style of training, especially in videos. Again, this is what happens. It's the same thing as there was a kettlebell video that it was another martial artist that mainly only did kettlebells. And then there was another martial artist responding to it who does a lot of traditional strength, but also talks about the nuance like we do. And this guy, in the kettlebell video, he was basically saying, like, he was calling it the real strength. He was calling it the way, your body should move and all these like terms that set it up as if kettlebells are the only way.
Yeah.
And then these guys that do a lot of the bodybuilding and the strength, but also, a little bit of kettlebell stuff too. They came back and were like, dude, that's literally just trying to sell your programs.
Yeah.
Like that's a falsehood. What you just said there. You just said it's real. What does real strength mean?
Yeah.
What study has gone over real strength?
Right.
Somebody that can deadlift 500 pounds will have more real strength than somebody who throws around a 44-pound kettlebell 100%. And that's it.
Yeah.
And
by the way, on that note, if you have a coach or trainer currently, or you're looking into a coach or trainer, whether that's through social media, maybe through a podcast like this, if they are saying things like, this is the only way to train, I only train this way, or anything like that, that is more than likely someone you don't want to train with. Notice how we literally have never said anything like that in regards to how we train people, how we train ourselves, or any of these types of physical vitality topics where it's a this versus this. Notice how we never say anything like that. Now, do you and I, whether separate or together as Untapped, have certain things that we do believe in and will push? Absolutely.
No, we preference. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe prefer, or a preference is the better way to say it. Absolutely. Because as a coach, you do have to have some kind of style that separates you from the next guy.
Right. You can't be, what's the word I'm looking for?
You can't be an expert on everything.
Right.
It's
like the jack of all trades thing. Like,
correct.
You should have expertise in a realm that you like focus on. For
Absolutely.
the most part. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a clientele you focus on.
And that goes, when you're looking to purchase a service from anybody, it goes for that as well. You know, if you got a guy that he builds any kind of building, houses, skyscrapers, a shack, a restaurant, I mean, anything.
Yep.
The work probably isn't going to be very good.
Mm.
But if you have a guy, like I was just listening to the Q&AF on Real AF this week, this guy had a construction business and his end goal was to specifically be like upscale homes. Essentially, it was a very niche market that he was describing.
Good market to be in.
And it is, for sure. It's a very lucrative business, but you have to get to that point, obviously, but not the point here. But he wanted to specialize in that and that only. Not, well, I do want to build fancy homes, but you know, if you need a restaurant built or a clubhouse for your golf course,
affordable housing,
or apartment buildings, like I could also do that too. You know, but it's like, no. I want to specialize and dominate in this one thing.
Uh-huh. It's also in that scenario, that guy, just like similar to trainers, if you specialize in a certain clientele, certain clienteles will give more headaches compared to another.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very commonly.
Absolutely.
Just like if you specialize in these houses, these upscale homes, this guy deals with upscale clients too, which are usually much more, forgiving is not the word I'm looking for, just in general, much more pleasant to deal with.
Yeah.
You know,
and they're going to have their wants, needs, and demands, and they're going to cause headaches as well. Same goes for upscale training clients, but they're paying a premium, so they understand that, you know, maybe the work takes a little bit longer, or it's going to be more expensive, or hey, if you wanted to add this, like, okay, but it's going to extend the timeline, or it's going to extend the invoice by X amount. So you're correct there. Yeah, grace doesn't feel like the right word, but maybe it is. You know, better understanding.
They truly will give you less headaches. That like upper scale, whether
For
it's
sure.
clients, like that's been my personal in-person experience. Is like they will 100%. The ones who are trying to penny pocket and pinch every dollar here and there, they give you the most headaches by far.
Right.
By far.
Right.
Like, because then the problem is the builders that do that, they're the ones that are cutting corners for houses.
Absolutely.
And in the case of, you know, these people, they're penny pinching, they're not going to get the results either, because they're not going to follow the plan. They're going to fight you at every turn on that too. You know what I mean? That's why the 20 to 45-year-old range with my in-person clients is what really works well for me. And for that matter, our online clients too, because we're talking former athletes, we're talking young professionals who are very dedicated toward their work. That clientele works really well for us because of the fact that they are getting after it. They want to follow the plan. They follow the plan in their daily life. They might not be the richest dudes, but they follow the plan no matter what.
They trust in us.
It's like a follow the plan type of client would be like the word that you would use that we're looking for.
Yeah.
But also that truthfully, like anybody should look for in any field.
Right.
So,
and that have trust in us.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's actually another way to describe these types of people is they know they're paying more for a reason. So they're going to believe in the work that you're doing on their behalf or for them, whether it's a house, whether it's a training client or something else.
Instead of picking an AI program, something, you know, or some trainer who offers it $3 a month or something like that for their service or what, you know, that right.
And you don't hear from them. They're not hands-on.
Right.
You don't know the person. They don't know you. That type of thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That was a really good conversation. Guys, I really hope that you pay attention to that. And if there's anything that you want to go back to and listen, like, do that, because this is a good, important episode, you know, distinguishing between kettlebell training, traditional training, and then how to incorporate both, which we made really good points for all three of those sides. We obviously, you know, put ourselves in the middle of that conversation and we gave the reasons why. So again, this is a really good conversation. So pay attention, go back and listen to anything you might need to. But at the end of all of our non-guest episodes, Money Mitch over there will ask us a Q&A question that's submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. Now, we have a few different ways that we would like you guys to submit these questions. First, you can DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. You can DM them to us. That's on Instagram, by the way. You can also DM us individually, or if you have our numbers, shoot us a text with the question. You can email them to us. Our email is extricationfitness@gmail.com. Back on the old name. Now, it is a little bit of a mouthful. See, not a connoisseur of the English language.
Yep.
Always. But anyway, we did simplify that for you guys. There's an email button in our Instagram and Facebook bios. So you can just click on that. It'll take you to your email and you can send it that way. Or you can leave your questions in the comments of our social media posts. Now, we are active on all 4 of the major social media platforms. So that's Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. So you can go to our Instagram posts, our TikTok posts, our X, or our YouTube videos, or also on YouTube Shorts.
Tell them what they can go back to, too, on YouTube. The vlog will be out.
Oh, yes. So yeah, when you guys are hearing this, the past Wednesday, so last Wednesday, our newest vlog came out. It is us at the S2 HQ Open Gym from just a couple weeks back. It's about 10.5 minutes long, but we interviewed a few of the S2 guys and we had a lot of fun with them. Showcased the gym a bit. Next time I will do a better job of showcasing the gym and getting some more B-roll type shots of that, but still, turned out really well.
Get to it.
Yeah,
unacceptable.
I know. Yeah. I need to do better. So anyway, you can leave your questions in the comments of any of those places. All of them get sent to Money Mitch. Now, these questions, they can be about anything. It can certainly be about a past topic that we have covered. It can be a question or a suggestion for a future topic or future guest for that matter. If there's someone you guys want us to get on or work on getting on, by all means, let us know. We are all ears on that type of stuff. We have plenty of our own ideas for upcoming guests that we do have in the works. But if you guys have any suggestions or someone that you want to hear for a particular reason, like, let us know. They can be about supplements. It can be funny. We love the funny questions. Truthfully, can be about anything. And then Money Mitch will enter the chat again. So he gets a fact of the day and a Q&A. That kind of rhymed.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yep, you said that. I was like, that was nice.
Yeah. All right, I'll shut up. Go ahead, Mitch.
Finally. Why is dad strength the real thing?
Well, we're about to find out in less than a month here from Big Man here.
I'm already building it. 255 for 4 went up on incline recently.
Incline curls.
Incline curls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Almost to my level.
Yeah.
Almost.
You're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once I hit dad strength, it'll double.
It will. It will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lateral raises.
Straight to 5'10". Lateral raises.
Lateral raising the barbell with 225 on it.
Yep.
Is that 22.5?
No.
Yeah.
Some Larry Wheels activity when he takes with the barbell.
Dude, makes no sense.
Yeah.
I saw one of him literally with a 135 on the bar in each hand, and he was pressing it.
Like shoulder pressing it?
Like dumbbell pressing it. Flat bench, yeah.
Wow. How do you even
balance?
It was like a slight
almost
angle,
like a neutral grip.
slight angle, close to neutral grip, like an A press type thing. And he was doing 135 on each bar.
Gosh.
That was like 3 years ago or something like that. I think Larry now is like chilled out with a lot of the compounds he was utilizing.
I mean, heck, dude, that's still, and maybe it's because this guy has dad strength, benching 200-pound dumbbells. Like, that is insane. We made jokes about the 200-pound kettlebell earlier, and you talked about those guys holding it. It's like this dude straight up has a 200-pound dumbbell in each hand and is benching it for reps.
I choose to, anybody that benches over 150-pound dumbbells in each hand, I make a note not to fuck with them.
Yeah, right.
Ever.
Right.
Make a note in my head.
Right.
No.
Not that guy.
That one's not for me.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm going to do what I can to get him on my side.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Which, is what I hope my profile deters, but obviously it doesn't, as we know. But anyways. Yeah.
Okay, so is or why is dad strength a real thing, Mitch?
Why is? We know dad strength's a real thing. Come on now. Why is it?
For certain dads.
Yeah, let us
know.
A
lot of dads nowadays, there's...
Okay. The normal dads that we all grew up with.
Yeah, because I was going to say normal nowadays is just you're fat. But...
Answer the damn question.
Why is it a
Jesus.
Why is a real thing? I would imagine it's because you need to be able to kill anybody that tries to hurt your kids. That's a big part of it.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just like squeeze their head like a watermelon. Yeah, and pop it. Yeah. Like that. If they mess with your kids.
Like that.
oh, you tried to yell at my kids? Like that. Gone. It's like the boys when they do that in the boys show. But no, I mean, if we're being real, that's probably part of it.
I would imagine.
You need to stay jacked if you want to be deadly.
Right.
So.
And I got to imagine because you got some extra motivation there. Like, you don't want your kids to see you weak, which is basically what you're saying.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to be lifting you until I'm on my deathbed.
You're going to be pressing the coffin while you're in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. There's no way. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I have a daughter on the way.
Yeah.
Whenever her future husband or whatever
man.
Whenever future husband shows up, I got to be able to beat his ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how I'm going to initiate him. I'm going to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, you can date my daughter now. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
But some dads are like, oh, I just need guns. It's like, you're a pussy. But okay. Yeah. Any man that can't do hand-to-hand combat, soft.
All right. There you have it.
Yep.
That's why dad strength is real.
Yep.
That was the worst answer I think.
It was pretty bad.
I mean,
that was a pretty rough
just
segment.
all over the
I
place.
mean, again, like, what else do you want?
Why?
It's a funnier physical vitality question,
It's the why. Why does it exist?
It's to protect your children and your wife, which you said. It's you have extra motivation because you don't want your kids or your wife to see you weak. There's number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably.
I'd say
you could argue muscle maturity.
I'd say
if we're talking like actual biological
like
aspects, like somebody that has been lifting since they were 20 or younger, muscle maturity could come into play.
Well,
yeah,
I was trying to take this individual's question and spin it toward our conversation of that. Our dads, they would be moving mulch and mowing the lawn and doing a whole bunch of random yard work at every hour of the day, and
it's not wrong.
And building stuff and doing stuff like that. You're in weird movements. You're not in like a gym where you can only go in one direction and it's safe. Sure. They're turning, they're twisting, they're lifting things over their head. Yeah. It's very unstructured movements. Yeah. That's why I would say why it exists.
Well, and both of our dads too are also the type of guys like, well, it's got to get done, so I'm going to figure it out one way or the other. If I got to be in a weird position to do this, like, so be it. Like, I'm going to make it happen.
I mean,
and
just this weekend, Steve and I were replacing some boards and stuff like that, and they're big 10-foot, 2x6s. They're big boards, and you lean down to pick it up, and you're twisting, and you're putting it over your shoulder, and you have to balance that, and that engages a lot of stuff,
Absolutely.
So that's what I would say. It's unstructured movements. That's where I would say it would come from.
Right, and quite honestly, not directly, but kettlebell training mimics that in ways because
technically unstructured,
because your body is in odd positions. Mitch, you just mentioned that traditional style, you're going to be kind of in one plane, moving in one direction. Not always, but a lot of times, especially if you're like a machine only person. Well, that machine is made to move in one way. Kettlebells, there's a flow to it. You've talked about this on your Instagram before in past videos. There's a flow to the kettlebell movements, especially as you progress more in the kettlebell movements. The flow of the movement is actually very important to maintain for safety and for the movement itself, and that's, as you get older, like as our dads have gotten older, it's important. This is why we advocate for the hybrid style of training, the functional style of training. So much is because it does keep your body moving in ways that it likes to move. If you're moving in one direction, it's going to be pretty hard for you to pick up 10-foot boards and walk with them or hold them up as you're nailing them into the wall or drilling into them or whatever it might be. You're trying to hold a 10-foot board and hold a drill and push the drill.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, you're 6 feet up in the air on a ladder as well.
Yeah, you can deadlift a 10-foot board and it doesn't weigh anything, but you can't carry a board around like that. You have to walk it somewhere. Or
exactly.
Lift it up somewhere. Or
No, 100%. You load up 10 50-pound sandbags from Home Depot. Well, that's 500 pounds. That's a heavy cart, but you're pushing it. I guess those sled pushes helped you out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like it can correlate to that quote unquote dad strength, to be able to push all the sandbags to the truck bed or something,
and then lift them up or throw them out.
Exactly. So
he's picking them up with a rounded back, and a rounded back isn't a bad thing.
No,
the back rounds naturally. You should be able to do that without blowing out your back as soon as you pick up something.
Right.
You're not going to deadlift everything with a straight back. You're not going to hinge at your hips every single time because stuff moves.
Right.
That bag of mulch is going to move. It's not going to just stay stiff like a barbell. It's going to flop around. It's going to shift. Weight's going to move.
Yeah.
If a weight shifts, 2 inches to the left, that doesn't mean your low back should immediately explode.
Right. And by the way, for a lot of notes on that type of topic, go back to Dr. Wyatt Orman's episode, which is
episode 108.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, I think that's more the style of answer that you and our question asker was looking for.
Yeah, you could play not really devil's advocate, but you could add a piece to that and say that the traditional style of picking up heavy things also supports your tissue. And then you can go do that even easier as a dad. If you were to do that.
Absolutely.
It'd be the same conversation we were talking about last week, where we talked about blue collar workers. Like I think it was early in the episode randomly.
Yeah.
And like how a lot of that, like we talked about their bodies breaking down and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have your structure and your tissue supported by heavier load and heavier strength training, hypothetically, you should be able to do your job better, which also is attested to through research as well. Where these guys, like, they have less degeneration in their disc in their back. They have less degeneration in their knees, all that stuff. So if you want to preserve that dad strength, doing heavy load, but also these unconventional movements is really the way to go.
Yeah.
That's like, if you want to talk about pure dad strength, combining the two, like we were talking about in the episode, is the way to go.
Yep.
Because then you can go out with the drill, the hammer and whatnot. You could hold your arms overhead for, minute and a half or whatever while you screw in the screw or whatever it is and have no trouble with it. You can lift the boards and do that stuff because you're having a combined support for that tissue on your body. So, yeah.
I mean, personal example here, like the job I do every day, carrying beer around all day, it sounds kind of funny, it sounds easy, and for the most part, honestly, it is because I'm strong and I train and I'm jacked. So that
couldn't help to glaze himself.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Couldn't help to put one in the belly button real quick.
You absolute weirdo. Anyway, there's times like, let's say I need 4 30 racks for the cooler. It's like, well, I'm not going to push a whole cart over there or load them into the cart and then bring. It's like, I'll just walk over there and carry them back. Well, you put one in each hand. You put one in each armpit, basically, on top of the one in your hand. 30 rack is going to be around 25, 27 pounds, something like that. You got 100 pounds right there. And then you're walking across the store.
You really need to bring a tripod in and set it up and like catch yourself curling the 30 racks. That'd be pretty funny, actually.
I mean, bro, that's why my back and biceps are very strong, is because that's what I'm doing all day and shoulders.
But it has to be supported. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
otherwise you will have degeneration
and deadlifts.
Structure. Yeah.
Deadlifts too. Like I'm basically deadlifting stuff, or I'm pulling heavy pallets, or sometimes pushing heavy pallets, just like you were at a former job as well. It's the same thing. If you don't train in those types of manual labor jobs, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna feel it, which is what you're alluding to from last week's episode.
Yeah. Like that's what's funny. That previous job, it's like I'd pull concrete out of the ground because we would have to throw it away in the garbage truck or whatnot. All the dudes would be like, "Holy shit, Gable, what the hell?" And it's like, yeah, because I train along with this.
I'm jacked.
Yeah, it's like I also do this, and you go home and drink, and then come in drunk at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Nice,
but,
nice.
That did happen.
Oh,
yeah, awesome, really good leader. But anyways,
all right, guys, that is episode 169. Kettlebells versus traditional. Which one is it? We gave you the answers. If you didn't get the answer, then you need to re-listen to this and comprehend things better. Guys, as always, please continue to share the show. It helps us grow tremendously. It's free for you. All we ask is that you're putting it on your Instagram story. You're texting it around to your friends and family. You're taking a picture of your screen while you're watching on YouTube and posting that to your Instagram story. It truly helps us a ton.
Rate the show.
And rate the show on Spotify.
That helps a bunch too.
Yes.
For algorithm-wise.
And like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, whether it's the podcast episodes or, again, our vlogs, which are also on YouTube.
Boom.
Guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.